पास ताको बिगन ना को लागे जाकी प्रभ आगे अरदास धन 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 साहिब श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहब जी महाराज आप दी अपार बख्शिश का सदका पातशाह जीओ साइबर संगत आज फिर जुड़ बैठी है आप दी अपार बख्शिश का सदका पातशाह अपने बच्चों तो अपनी गुरमत अनुसार विचार करवाओ जी अपनी गुरमत अनुसार उन्होंने सेध दे के गुरमत की अगवाई हेठ गुरमत विचार कराने की कृपा करो जी सही प्यारे मिलो जिन्हें मिले आप जी का नाम चिते आवे गुरु नानक नाम चढ़दी कला तेरे भाने सरबत का भला वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह
Hanji, I think we are on Pauri 16 and we covered first 4 lines in last 3 weeks, and today we wanted to, I think we started Tol Taram Daya Kaput last week, but we again wanted to start with these lines to make sure we understand the deep meaning. So with said that, I will I think first go to Sardar Ravel Singh ji, if he can give his version on just 2 lines. Tall Taram Daya Kaput, Santok Thap Rakhya Jin Soot, and then if you can make the connection how these lines in this body carry the flow of the previous bodies. Sardar Ravel Singh ji.
Hanji, Vaisakhi ji ka khalsa. All Taram Daya Kapur, the 16th Pauri of Japji Sahib that we started. In Japji Sahib, from this Pauri onwards, there is a description of the universe. There is a description of how the human being fit into this universe, be a part of it, according to what the Almighty desires, to then finally carry on and be part of or merge with it. Now, this whole Dharam Daya Kaput there is a concept in Hinduism that the earth is supported on the horns of a bull, and they go to even to the extent that when the bull gets tired, changes from one to the other, there is an earthquake. Well, leaving that aside, there is also a parallel belief of the Greek that the whole world is supported by Atlas. So it's not only exclusive to the Hindus. Guru Nanak does not accept this concept. He says the whole Taram Daya Kaput, the word or the planets, not one word, but all planets, are being supported in space according to the Dharam. Dharam is religion, Dharam is law, Dharam is rules, Dharam is way of life, Dharam is everything. Now, where Dharam applies is as the rules or as the law. Now, this concept of Dharam, leaving it aside, the Earth and the other planets are being supported in the space according to these laws or according to the hukum, which the Guru Sahib called it Daya. Daya is compassion. Daya is that is it is kindly keeping this thing in space, in position. The whole Dharam Daya Kaput, Santok Thap Rakhya Jin Soot. Santok is contentment. Santok is being happy and satisfied. But how does the satisfaction come? It comes when we are we readily accept the divine will. That is when we submit to divine will happily. Sometimes we say that we know we are happy. Then we don't look for anything else. We don't complain. We don't look. We go anywhere else. Pooth Santok Sablakya Jin Soot. Soot is thread or a string. It is like we can use the concept of a rosary, in which the string controls all before they are strung on the string, they are spread all over. When they are strung on the bead, the beads are strung on the string, then they are controlled. Then whatever way the string is given, these beads also take the same layout, so the shape is concerned. So what it means really is that the earth is being supported by the laws, and the Suj here means the law, like the Dharam, that the whole universe, all the planets in the universe are being supported on in space according to the laws which the Creator has made.
Thank you, Ji. And the word Pooth. So, what is the meaning of the tall term Daya ka Pooth? So, Pooth refers to Ravel Singh Ji?
Okay?
Pooth. So, what is the Pooth meaning of?
Pooth means is a son, ladka, beta. So this is Dhaul Dharam Deha ka Pooth. It is a Dhaul is a
product.
Is a son, is secondary to the Creator who accepts and lives by Dhaul Dharam Deha ka Pooth. It is the son. It accepts the laws and lives according to the orders of the Father God.
Okay, thank you, Ji.
Would you say the son? I think that is used more to say a product of.
Okay.
Taratharam, Daya Kaput, product of Daya, of compassion. From compassion and Daya flow a sense of duty and Dharam. And if I look at it that way, then it's the offspring of Daya.
Yeah.
But not literally, of course.
Yeah.
That's how I would translate it.
Yeah. Could it be considered as a subset also? A set
Yes,
and a
subset is a product as well of the set, you
Yeah.
see. So it's the same thing as an offspring or a subset, depending on which kind of analogies, metaphors you want to use. It's poetry.
And
You've got to keep that in mind.
good. Thank you, Ji. I think next we go to Ranbir Singh Ji. You want to add, like, do you agree with the Dharam is referring here as a rule and the description the Ranbir Singh Ji mentioned?
More or less, I would, the word son has been used. I would just say Dharam, born out of Daya.
That's right.
I think that would explain it very well. The word Pooth Guru Sahib has used just to make a rhyme or make poetic requirements, but obviously it means to all that the support of the earth is Dharam, which is born out of Akal Purukh's mercy. And then what else Akal Purukh do? Santokh Thap. He established, like Sarvel Singh Ji said, he established a contentment. And this contentment is on the part of the entire universe. Everything in the universe goes according to, accepts those laws, that Dharam. And then Rakhya Jin Soot. And Akal Purukh himself holds the string and makes sure everything goes according to his will. And the Soot really means his will. And that sentiment has been expressed again and again in Guru Granth Sahib, Jis Pavitas Dei and so on, Vastrakhi Hathapane. So the way I understand these two lines is simply that the support of all creation, that's Dharam, they go do their duty and according to what they're supposed to do, and this is born out of mercy from Akal Purukh. And Akal Purukh also established contentment on the part of the entire universe, so it goes along with those rules. And then Akal Purukh himself holds the strings to establish his will. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranbir Singh. This is Gaurav Singh. I have been given the duty to take over as the moderator for the remainder of the hour. So, everyone has their preference how they wish to conduct this. I just want to make sure that I communicate how I approach this. We've got about 45 minutes left, So as we are going through this body, whether it's line by line or bringing out ideas for everyone to consider, I would, as I request you to please come forth, I would request that you please bring in only things that have not already been covered by somebody else, so that we are able to actually get deeper into it and make headway into the body. Because I believe I was looking at the schedule, and today we are to cover the remainder of the body, which will be very interesting and something that I'm looking forward to. So, so I want to put forward something for consideration, and this is also based upon what the last question that I asked at the end of last Vichaar was, who was being spoken to? And Dr. Ajay Singh had responded that it is the forgetful me. It is me who's being talked to. Obviously, it's not the all-knowing, infinite, omniscient Akal, or the One. So that one doesn't need to be reminded. So also, let's keep it in mind that we just went through Sunaya, all the body about listening, and about manna, about accepting. And now we are talking about a state of being which is Panch. And it's a beautiful state that is being described. So to me, I want to, and I get a lot more value out of this by applying it to the one that is being talked about. It's about the state of being which is Panch. And if I look at it that way, the value that I'm getting out of this is that the Taur Taram, Daya Ka Poot, it is the Taram, another meaning of that is purpose, a purposeful being. So the world that I create, and Ekonkar Kaur had mentioned this a few weeks back, that whatever interpretation we have, it runs according to the map of the world that we have. So I think we should examine the map that we hold, which gives us the meanings that we are ascribing to these words. And I want to lay bare the map that I'm talking about. I'm talking about, this is me. This is the world that I'm creating. And if I'm living a purposeful life, my purposeful life is born of compassion. It is a product of my compassion towards myself and to all that I see as not me. And it is the contentment that comes from a purposefully lived life. That is the suit, that is the connection that keeps my life going the way it is. And if one who gets this, not one who understands this, one who gets this, and that was the fundamental question that we started this Bani with, is give satyara hui hai. So now the question goes into what this world that I'm carrying in my head, what kind of weight and what kind of force is driving these? And I want to give that for your consideration and see if that might have any value for you. And we can explore other angles as well. Any takers?
Move on.
Are you asking for volunteers? Is that?
Yes. Ekonkar, would you like to give us your thoughts?
Sure. I missed all of you the last few weeks, by the way. So it's nice to be back. Since I mentioned some of the conversation, I'll just share. If we're talking about Panch, we're coming out of the Sunya and Mane, that there's a person who's cultivated in themselves the ability to deeply listen and the ability to intuitively trust what the Gurudev guidance is. And when we come into these next 4 Pauris, actually, which are taken as a whole, the Guru's really getting into the fact that the universe is limitless and it's all God, no matter what it looks like, and our mind can never completely contain it or describe it, and it's about the view of the awesomeness of the whole thing. And that the Panch is the one who's moving into that limitless, non-dualistic acceptance of what the creation actually is. And I just want to add one little thought about the Put, the Daya Ka Put. I have a background in Buddhism. Before I became a Sikh, I studied a lot of Buddhist tradition. And there's a very old saying in Buddhism. It goes back to Tibet. And the saying is, kindness is the mother and Dharma is the sun. And so for me, when I look at this line, I really do resonate that Guru Nanak speaking to that very old saying that existed in his time. And it's about acknowledging at the start that the universe is positive. It's about the awakening of the soul, that there's a plan, that patience is the only way to get through this play of creation. And this line actually begins the affirmative process of delving into that exploration of the universe as limitless and non-dualistic, but that Dharma is always at the base of it, and kindness is always the kindness, the mother kindness has given birth to Dharma that gives us a way through the process of creation. So those are some thoughts. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but
yes, thank you very much. Actually, there was a lot there to work with. Dr. Ajay Singh,
Anji.
would you like to continue?
No,
this
I already said my piece. Let me hear some other voices, and then I will come in.
Okay.
Ranbir Singh, I'd like to say something.
Hanji, please.
I'm still confused about Panch. And Sar Vail Singh ji, Sar Charan Singh ji, he pointed out that Panch could mean something different. And I tried to seek some guidance from Guru Granth Sahib, and I find the problem with me is I don't understand grammatically Panche Pave Darge Man, Panche Sohen Darajan. If it said Panch Pave Darge Man, Panch Sohen Darajan, it would be grammatically fine, because those Panch would be who had done the Sunni and Manne. But the word Panche, that means all the five. And in Guru Granth Sahib, it has been used repeatedly for the five Gyanindriya, for the five thieves, and Panch Shabdi. And I was intrigued by Charan Singh's question that this whole thing could be, Panch would be the five senses. And I like to understand this because I am quite confused.
May I make a very short little interjection here,
Sure.
a comment? Perhaps one should not go literally from Panch to Panche and think that now he's talking about five people or something, or five things, or five virtues, or five attributes. Not necessarily. That little change may be just a demand of poetical meter, flow, cadence. And the words can change form. In poetry, they do. One need not look for the literal change in meaning. You have to see what the meaning is in the flow.
And also, I think I'd like to bring our attention to something that even in the Pauriyan to do with manne, there was a manna, there was a manne, and they have a different meaning. So,
There they do. There they do.
And over here as well, it's Panch Pravan, Panch Pradhan, Panche, Paven Dargaman, Panche, Sohen Dar Rajan, Panchaka, Gur Ektyan. So the Panche is talking about the Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan, the ones that have been mentioned. What is their state? They are, Pandene, they get the Paven Dargah Man, Panche, Sohen Dar Rajan. So they are being talked about. And then it's Panchaka, Gur Ektyan. Because the state of being a Panch is being described. Does that make sense?
It could.
That's the way I've always understood it.
Could.
Right from the first time I read Dr. Sahib Singh. But then after Sir Charan Singh's comment, I was wondering, because it's Panche, this thing with the lamb, does it occur anywhere else in the Guru Granth Sahib in that sense? But you're right, we can sort of accept it, assuming that this is poetic construction that Guru Sahib has done, and we don't have to worry about it.
I would think so.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm absolutely open to someone having a different interpretation that brings in value that we can build upon, because it would be sort of disjointed to leave that hanging and not be able to connect that further as we move forward. Because if we are not able to connect it moving forward, then it doesn't provide value. So we can play with it as we move forward.
Yeah.
I think there's
Please go on.
there's one thing that we should understand. You know, there are two places in Japji Sahib. Sorry.
What happened?
Yes, I'm not sure what happened there.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go
Now
ahead.
we can.
Okay, all right. You see, there are two places in Japji Sahib. One is this Panche Pave Darge Man, Panche Sohe Darra Jan, Pancha Ko Ikhtiyan. Je ko kare vichar karte ke karne nahi sumar. There seems to be a disconnect. That is, we were so far talking of the Panch. Now we are talking of karte ke karne nahi sumar. We are now talking about the creation.
Well, that depends on the view of the world that you hold.
What is the question that's bothering now? Because one can then discuss.
No, I think what we're saying is if it seems disjointed, then perhaps the view, the map that we hold of where the Bani is headed may be incorrect, because it may we can attempt to explore other meanings where it is jointed, where it's not disjointed. So we're jumping right from a person and a way a certain types of individuals are being, right to talking about creation. That seems disjointed to me. So I mean, how I would personally interpret this is this state of being that is being referred to as Panch. Our mind has a propensity to try to talk about things a lot, and through our words or just about our thinking, we think that we actually get there. And this state of being is not a product of our thinking about or talking about. And the dimensions, the creative dimensions of a Panch, karte kya karna, nahi shumar. And shumar is an adequate, descriptive, some notion of what it is.
Shumar is estimate.
Estimate, yes, thank you.
Literally count.
Okay, so the creative tendencies of this type of an individual being, which is a creative being, is not going to be talked about. It's not going to be encapsulated by thinking about. That's not the way to be.
No. You see, what is the doubt? What's the problem? I don't understand this. What is the doubt? What's the problem? You see, so far we were discussing a Panch. Panche Pave Darge Man, Panche Sohe Darra Jan, Pancha Ka Grektyan. Now we are going to Jeko Kare Vichaar Karte Ke Karne Nahi Sumar. Tol Dharam Daya Ka Poot Santok Tha Prakya Jinsud. We are going on now to the creation and how everything in space is held according to the laws of the Almighty. And this is what it is. Before that was the Panch. So this, I mean, is this the doubt? Is what is the doubt is about the creation?
I mean, who expressed doubt about the creation, or what? I'm not sure what is being referred to.
You see, it's what is all Param Daya Ka Poot. So Karte Ke Karne Nahi Sumar. It is not possible to estimate or to assess the creation, karne, whatever has been created, ke karne karte, that means the creator. It is not possible to make an assessment of what all the creator has created.
That's right. That's a fair assessment.
Okay, and let's keep going on to the pauriyan that are talking about the lines that are talking about Tol Taram Daya Ka Poot, all the way through Jeko Bujja Ho Vichaar. Tavla upar kita par.
This is a sort of a belief in the Hindu faith
that's already been discussed. So I want to talk about something where the thread makes sense, because clearly it's not talking about the ox holding up the world. It's clearly not talking about that. So
it is certainly talking about it. It is certainly talking about it, because that's the faith, and Guru Nanak Sahib is trying to put us on the right lines of science. And if you please, that we should not be talking in terms of superstitions. We should not be talking in terms of blind faith on something, and because everything in creation exists by some logic, and that is these are the laws that are made by the Creator. Certainly, like refers to the belief in the existence of the bull in Hindu faith.
Okay. Does somebody else have a counterpoint to that, perhaps?
Well, this is Paramjit. Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Well, I'm listening very interesting discussion on this one. I'm just throwing my thoughts into that, and I might be slightly off here, but I was reading it, and when I read it, Tol Taram Diya Ka Poot, whose Diya we are talking about here, when I read it, I just thought that it could be that through the mercy of Akal Purakh, Taram is created to bring stability in this universe. That Diya Ka Poot, through the mercy of Akal Purakh, a Taram, which is good deeds, good thoughts, and good actions we are talking about, which is fundamental for any religion to exist. And if we contentfully, if we are clearly diligent in these aspects of thoughts, deeds, there will be stability in this universe, which is the primary goal of all the religions. If people can understand this thing, people who can understand this thing will be enlightened. And the next three things are just the side remarks to those people who have been talking about ke bull de utte zameen khadi hai. Guru Sahib ne casual comment paya the that if that is the case, could somebody explain how long that bull is going to live? That's my side thing. But where this bull is standing, and if bull is standing on another earth or universe, where that universe is going to, who is holding that universe? So I thought the other three lines, the last three lines, are just a side comment for those layman people who have been talking about Hindu mythology and all that, just put them in silence. But the first three things, first three lines, I thought through the mercy, through the benevolence of Akal Purakh, a Taram is created in this universe. And if we are contented with that Taram, good deeds, good actions, and good thoughts, there will be stability in this universe. This is the way I was thinking, but I could be off. But that's my thought. So
okay, thank you.
See, if you have a look at these few lines, the whole thing becomes quite clear. Just forgive me, it will take a couple of minutes only. Taul Dharam Daya Ka Poot, Santok Tha Prakhya Jinsut, Jeko Buje Hoves Chayar. That means if somebody says that no, I am right, but this belief in the bull supporting the earth is right, Hoves Chayar, Jeko Buje Hoves Chayar, then please tell me, how much weight can a bull take? How much weight can a bull take? Dharti hor pare hor. There are planets all over, so more and more planets as you go forward. Dharti hor pare hor. Tiste parsale kaman jor. Who is supporting those planets?
No.
That should make it.
No, that is quite understandable. That's very simple. I can ask the question. Guru Sahib could have said, how long the bull is going to live?
Sorry?
Let's put that way. How long the bull is going to live to hold the earth?
Quite right.
No, Guru Sahib could have said. I think these are very casual remarks. We shouldn't be.
What I'm trying to say is that the concept of the whole Dharam Daya Ka Poot is Santok Tha Prakhya Jinsut. Total thing is about the bull supporting the concept of the bull by the Hindus is not right. But is right is that everything is being supported by once in a whole Dharam Daya Ka Poot. That is this concept that you're talking about is the kindness or the will of the Almighty, according to which it is supporting the Earth or the other planets in space.
So actually, want to have someone else who has not spoken yet. I actually am not familiar with everyone's names. I apologize. D Singh.
Hanji, this is Dilpreet.
Dilpreet Virji, please. Do you have any?
What is touching me in this body is that there is a question at the starting, as you said, Kiv Sachiara hoya, Kiv Kude Tutte Pal, and now here the answer is coming, Jeko Buje Hove Sachiar. And then in the previous bodies also it is saying that you have to solve this riddle. So now Dhol Dharam, Dhol is just the representation of support. That what is supporting this earth? Again, that is a question. And then Santok Thap Rakhya Jin Sooth, then everything is in equilibrium and it is a balanced state. Why it is in a balanced state? Because these things are following a law and they are not trying to break the law. So again, then I think that how it applies to my life and how it will bring a change in me, because it is saying Jacob Buje Hove Sachya means it will bring some change in me if I understand this thing. So that means that yes, there is a law or somewhere we say that okay, we are playing a role in this bigger world which is a self created and everything is in equilibrium, and how I play my role and how I have the contentment and how I can get a balance so that I don't interfere with it and I play my role and I enjoy it. So that's how I see it, that if we get that, and that will change me and it will bring a change in me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So actually, before we move on to the next part of this body, which is Jeen Jaat Ranga Ke Nav, I definitely want to underscore that there are some different visions that have been presented here, and one is of this universal working of the world being supported, various beliefs that people have by certain entities that are supporting this. However, there is a thread that is tying this Bani together, and that was referring to certain key words earlier, certain questions that were posed earlier, as of Satyar. I also want to point out something that no one mentioned yet, but something that struck me was when we're talking about the Panch, it is about Manna Marag Thak Na Paye. And that actually it relates with some lines that are coming up. E lekha likh jana koe, lekha likhya keta hoye. And Keti Dat, a gift that is being talked about. So I would like to get your views on that, and perhaps Charan Singh Virji, if you would please enlighten us with your thoughts on that.
Yeah, my first point is to Virji Ranveer Singh ji. Amrit Kirtan de vich Virji on page 744. Ranveer ji, Amrit Kirtan de vich 744 de utte, there's a shabad, Panch chele mile paye ikatra ekas ke vas kiye. That gives a very profound insight into what we are discussing about the Panch. And next pankti is Das Bairagan Agyakari Tab Nirmal Jogi Thiye. So it's pretty much talking about our Gyan Indre and Karam Indre, and all in under the command of our attention, like our dhyan. This is one part of it. And second, on the same page, interestingly, Kabir Singh ji, Kabir Bhagat ji, Bhagat Kabir ji mentions, Panch tat lai hirday rakho, rahe nilalam tadi, kahat Kabir suno re santo taram daya kare badi. And as Ajay Singh ji were also saying, it's a subset. Daya is ਜੋ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਇਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਦਇਆ ਦ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟੀ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. ਸੋ ਦਇਆ ਇਜ਼ not just a simple personal level ਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੇ ਦਇਆ ਕਰਤੀ. It's very profound. It's a bigger, ਜਿਹੜੀ the whole garden is mentioned as the daya. Whatever I'm seeing as nature, whatever I'm experiencing, that is in totality the daya referred, probably that Kabir ji is clarifying. And Dharam is the subset of that daya. So individualized way is the body, like there's a big garden and there's a garden, inside that garden there's a smaller subset of body, that is the Dharam. So we have the same gracefulness as our Father has, as our Creator has, until we meet that, until we unite with that. So this is in reference to what Ranveer Virji was earlier asking. About the other part, I think this body, as I mentioned last time also, this has a micro as well as macro overlapping. At micro level, who we are, the consciousness is described by Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan, Panche Pavidargaman, and that's the micro level. And then at the macro level, like we are, I'm a little bit, please don't mind if I say, we need to bring the truth of Gurbani in the light of what's happening around. What's happening around is the Big Bang Theory. Everybody is talking about that. So how does, if we are trying to say, how is the Tarti positioned in the Big Bang world, which the science has been, after it, and the whole education system is emphasizing. I think Sikhi is not a religion. Please don't mind my saying that. It is more of education. It's more of a research. It's more of a exploration. It's more of a bringing perspective on part of Sikhs to match to the changing needs of the world, where it holds the truth. Because it is unchanging. Gurbani is the profound, grounded reality that has taken 240 years to practically demonstrate that, yes, this is the truth. So how can we say that we can keep on insisting that this is the theory, this is the theory? How does that apply to the current perspective? We need to address that. In the later part of the Pauri, Guru Sahib says, everybody has a right to say their own perspective, right? Because the Dharam is there in everyone. The Creator as a Dharam is present in everyone. So everyone can use the thought process, can speak, listen, read, write, reflect, and everyone has his own saying, right? But whatever Creator writes, the kalam that Creator has with which it writes, that similar kalam is to everyone, because the Dharam is the subset of the Creator, of the Daya. So everybody can write, but Guru Nanak submits to that Creator, because whatever the Creator writes, that's unfathomable, that is unmeasurable, that is uncomprehendable. The only way to connect to that Creator is through the Dharam that dwells in us. That's my take. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you. Ekonkar Kaur Ji?
Yes, G?
Do you have your thoughts on this part of the party? Ji Jat Ranga ke Nav, all the way to the end of the party, Jo Tud Bhava Sai Palikar, Tu Sada Salamat Nirankar.
I do. I'll tell you, actually, when I look at this part of the Pauri, and it takes me back to the first Pauri of Japji and Soche Sochen Hovi Je Sochi Lakavar, which I personally hold to the old school translation, which is that thinking, you can think 1,000 thoughts, but thinking isn't going to get you there. And my sense of this, I'm not going to go line by line, but just the overall feeling of it, is my sense about this part of the Pauri, and I loved what Charan Singh Ji just said about, I also don't believe that this is a religion. It's an exploration of human consciousness, and when we go into the Sunya and Mane Pauris, we're cultivating the mind in a very particular way. We're saying, oh, human being, it's in you to know directly, if you develop your sensitivity, to listen and to trust yourself. But we still have to deal with the mind. And so what can happen a lot, and we're seeing it in the world right now, is that people get a little piece of the truth, and then they want to shove it down everybody's throat that this is the only way. And it's horrible what's happening in the Middle East. These old medieval views of Islam, quote unquote, are resulting in the destruction of people. And it's because people can get a little bit of the truth and then forget that actually the Creator is not knowable. That you can know your piece, but you can never, ever, 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 ever know the whole thing. And so Guru Nanak here starts to articulate that that infinite view of saying, okay, mind, you're going to start to experience divine reality. Don't ever lose sight of the fact that you will never see it all or never know it all. And, how many lands are there? What power is there that supports it? The names and the colors and of the different souls are all written by the same pen. If someone were to try to know thee by writing all that you have written, how much writing would it take? And then he gets into this ecstatic expression of how beautiful the multiplicity of creation is. So he starts to anchor the mind into this enjoyment of the beauty of the multiplicity of creation so that it doesn't get attached and fanatical to one thing or one experience. How many forms are there, awesome in their power and beauty? How many gifts? Who can know their limits? And then it goes into that refrain, you know, the Kudrit Coven. And Kudrit is a feminine word in Gurbani. It's not masculine. It's about the creativity of the divine and that feminine aspect. And what can we talk about this creative power? We can never fully describe or limit the creativity of God. The divine feminine is never limited. And then he says, the only thing I can know is what you do is good, and everything else is beyond my understanding. So it takes us out of the limited mind that wants to know by thinking into the unlimited mind that enjoys the fact that it will never know it all. But I can know what I know through my intuition, but I never have the right to say that that's everything there is. So that's my take on it.
No, thank you. Dr. Ajay Singh or Paramjit Singh ji? Dr. Sahib, do you have any thoughts on this part?
No, I would second what Kankar just said, but not as well. Excuse me, not as well as she said it. You know, when they're talking about Ji Jaat Ranga ke naam, sabna likhya udi kalam, e likha likh jaane ko, it's really talking about the variety and the richness of the creation. And not the limited one that we have. And it really much of Gurbani talks about the limitation that we have. We live in a finite world as our senses, and that's the way we view things. And we're talking about the infinite, which cannot be comprehended, which cannot be captured in our words. Something that our senses cannot fully perceive, nor can our intellect fathom.
Okay, thank you.
And I agree with that.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a different understanding that they'd like to offer? In the general direction that Ikonkar Kaur, Dr. Ajay Singh has pointed us to.
I think our senses can connect with that ultimate reality, that infinite, because that's the answer Guru Nanak has been repeatedly giving. So,
wait. I didn't say that it cannot connect.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
I thought that way, so I'm sorry. Good to clarify, sir.
Senses cannot completely perceive, the intellect cannot completely fathom.
Yeah, that's
in other words, it's beyond our finite capacity. So by definition, then, we can't capture that whole reality. We cannot capture that whole reality.
No, but Guru Nanak says that it can be comprehended through the Akath Kahani.
It can be comprehended to the extent that it can, like I can comprehend quantum mechanics to a very small capacity. It's beyond me. But that doesn't mean I'm totally clueless about it. I can capture enough of it to think about it, to talk nonsense about it.
Doctor, I think I would still say that Guru Nanak, I may not be immediately handy with all those quotes, but I can put it on the blog that Guru Nanak says, yes, you are uncomprehendable. Yes, you are comprehensible. So that's my still a area where I still have to explore and get more satisfied on. But I think Guru Nanak talks about both options. You are incomprehensible, as we are rightly saying, and I agree with you as well, and Unkarji. But at the same time, Guru Nanak says, yes, you are comprehensible also.
Yes, so the thought that I gave is a little incomplete. What I mean, I could complete it in 3 sentences, which is that the ultimate reality is such that our senses cannot entirely perceive, our intellect cannot entirely fathom, but with which our inner self can commune.
There you go. I agree. Okay. The third part, I agree.
Well, the third part is based on the other two. Don't forget they're connected.
Yeah, You you evolve in those 3 stages, and I think you have a point. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The idea is to let it commune and yet be conscious of our limitations. Don't
Yes.
forget, we're trying to capture something infinite with a finite language, finite senses.
Yeah, because with our senses we are singing Gurbani, and that is a connection for
Much
sure.
as there are wavelengths that our eyes cannot see, but that does not mean they don't exist.
Yeah.
A dog can hear a certain level that we cannot hear.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. No, that's right.
The existence is much larger than we can fathom.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, let me. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I want to put something different for our consideration as a panel, and I've listened to you, and I've read a lot of the traditional accounts of these particular lines, and frankly, as I live with you, I find in my personal life that taking these lines, which are ending very emphatically with Jo Tud Bhave, Sai Pali Kar, Tu Sada Salamat Nirankar. So there is someone who is being spoken to. That is the Tu, and that is me as a reader and the one on a journey, and it's you as the one on the journey. And a lekha, likh jana koi. Now see, we can take this on a very macro scale, but frankly, the macro scale doesn't do much for me personally. And I am someone who has come to this path through science. And I absolutely respect the self-critiquing and self-disproving nature of science. And I think that it would be good for us to do that as well, to sort of disprove and to break down what we are constructing here, because at that macro level, it doesn't relate with me. And I'm being talked about as Kiv Sachara Hona. I am the one who is to be authentic. So how do I get to be authentic? And it's saying clearly, Vichaar karte kya karna hai, nahi shumar. That I can't talk about it. I can't simply think it through. Something else is being talked about here. And this lekha, likh jana hai koi. Lekha likhya, keta hue. And then it talks about strength. So it's rather than taking it out there, away from me, and huge and unknowable, it's really the me that is unknowable. It is the me that is formless. It is Nirankar. It is not different from the one. I'm essentially pitting myself against something and trying to struggle my way through union. And Guru Sahib is inviting us, in my understanding, to begin from union and to look at my states of being that are at disunion with the self. Something to consider. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a quick question for you. I normally play with these phonetics, and I came across a word like how as in how, what is, what, where, like that, and me, how me originates, right? So unless until we are clear about how me originates, we will not be able to comfortable stating that the tu is you only. So what do you say how the me originates in you? Okay, if it is hang on, we can talk later on, but that's the tricky part. I liked what you said, that it's about you, and I fully agree with that, honestly. But before that, there's a layer to trash or to transcend, and that is how me has originated in that you that is the formless. That's my precise question.
I think we may have to do that another time.
Yes. I said that. You can continue with your dialogue, but that's something which came to my mind, and I wanted to share that.
Hanji, thank you. And Ranbir Singh ji or Ravel Singh ji, in the few minutes that we have left, would you like to offer?
I have a request to make, general request to make, is that we are discussing a particular Pauri at a time, and every Pauri has a context to it. Yes. There's a particular subject that is being discussed. When we come to, the word comes dharam, the word comes satyar, we should not look at the various places where it is used, because they have they've been given in a particular context. To be able to understand any Pauri that we are discussing, that we are on, is that see the word there as it applies to this concept. Tol dharam deya ka poot santok tha prakhya jinsoot. It has got nothing to do with the dharam that we are talking about elsewhere. Similarly, satyar kiv chiara huye kiv kude zutte pal, meaning is the same. That is, here it is Jeko hoye satyar. Then he should. The Guru Sahib is asking, if somebody says that I know Jeko buje hoye satyar, wo kehanda main janta ki hai hai, I know what it is about. Then please tell me, what is how much weight can a bull take? Well, see, if we confine ourselves, or not confine rather, but focus ourselves on what we are discussing, then we would use that particular meaning of a word or of every word in the lines, and that would come. And second request I have to make is that whenever we are doing this, let us please, after we go over these things, let us take the meaning of every line at a time and go ahead, rather than just discuss words and then keep on going on.
Okay,
True.
thank you. And actually, this approach, I mean, I would like to request. There is something that we've been having Vichaar here in Chicago for the last 8 years, and we've been following a rule not to go outside of the Bani that is being discussed in order to prove our point. Because the context that is being discussed in one particular Bani, if it needs something from outside of it for me to construct that narrative, then it becomes sort of a self-serving exercise. It's something to play with. I certainly understand that we are very used to going elsewhere and picking things out of our vast research over the years. However, I would like to invite us, if we can, to stay with the Bani that we are at, and certainly everything that has come prior to it are the steps that we are, as we ascend this ladder. That's, I mean, they're called Pauri. So if we have come to Pauri 16, it would make sense and be prudent to refer to the first 15. However, jumping forward to make our point back here becomes a little self-serving, although I can understand the allure.
I can see that, say, jumping to Asta Divar to justify what's in Pauri 15, that's not kosher. That's going to create trouble. But don't forget that here, for example, there's a series of Pauris.
Yes.
They're connected.
You're right.
Panch, for example, occurs in 2-3 Pauris or something like this, and there the meanings are connected, and there's a continuity to the process of analysis. So to refer to that section would be quite all right.
Yes. I mean, it's a feedback loop within the contained Bani.
Within that loop, you got to. In fact, you got to make it clear.
Yes, I totally agree. Ranbir Singh ji?
I beg to differ, because Guru Sahib's language is Punjabi as it was in the 15th, 16th century, and when we look at it, words have changed their meaning, and some words we don't know the meaning. For example, there is the word Keti Daat Jane Kaun Koot, and this word Koot occurs only once in Guru Granth Sahib, that's here, and Dr. Sahib Singh says this is the Keti Daat. From that he interprets that this must be the extent. So he translates Koot as the measure. How big is that Daat? Who can know the measure? On the other hand, it could be something else too. And who can tell?
Could be.
And searching the rest of Gurbani, this is a technique that Dr. Sahib Singh himself used to discover the Gurbani Vyakaran. And I would refer to Vyakaran as he wrote it to understand Gurbani. And I'm not saying that we don't look at the context. Of course, we have to look at the context. But to properly understand the Bani, in that context, we need to know exactly what those words mean. And I won't hesitate to look elsewhere, although at the same time, like it has been said by Sarvel Singh and others, that we must stick to the thought that's going on in that body. So if there's a doubt, and we have, say, 2-3 options available to us, the one that fits the context is the correct one. And if you don't have an option, I would say I'm still mixed up. I would still be searching for a proper meaning. For example, even here, Ben Sajid Jatranga ke naam, sabne likha badi kalam. Okay, that means there are lots of people writing lots of things. Then what? A lekha likh jane koi. Now, what is this? A lekha. And likh jane koi. Who is it that understands how to write this? And we need to know what is this A lekha. And then lekha likha keta hui. And then he comes to keta tans, and that's of course, you know, how powerful Akal Purkh is, and how beautiful its his aspect is. Keti dat jane kon koot. How much has he bestowed on us? And who knows this? And of course, goes on to express further wonder, you know, kitab sawe ko this way lagdi jo. Kudrat kahan vichar, var na jave ek var. So, Guru Sahib just telling us कि मैं तो कुर्बान जानना हैरान होना मैं की दसा. And then he sums it up, जो तुझ पावे साहिब लिखा, whatever you do is the right one.
Thank you.
Is the right thing to do. So that's my understanding, but I could be wrong, you know.
Thank you.
We are here to share our views and learn.
So let's everyone take 30 seconds to encapsulate what they got out of this Vichaar today and their understanding of the lines that we've discussed. Starting with Dilpreet Virji.
Thank you, Virji. See, in this line, in the previous line, Eko Bujhe Hove Sachiar, there was a message. And how I get this line is that Kita Pasao Eko Pavao Tiste Hoe Lak Daryao, that everything is created by the same support, the thought which we are discussing earlier, that everything is being created and it exists. All this has creation, what we feel, and is created by the same creator, and we have, so that is the lesson. And then Jo tud pave sai palikar tu sada salamat nirankar, again it tells that it is a self-adjusting and it will change. So that is how I relate these things. So that is where it is not finite, it is infinite, and it is over the period of time, these laws. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a solution to this issue, is that we first describe what is the meaning of this.
May I please, I'm going to interject. Actually, in the interest of time, we only take 30 seconds to say what we have gotten out of it rather than responding to each other, because then it will take much longer. And I want to make sure that everyone's time is respected. So, sorry to interrupt. However, Ekon Karkorji, your turn.
Well, thank you, G. Actually, what I got out of this is what I get out of many of these sessions is just a deep appreciation of how much people have different viewpoints, and then where we come together, and the different styles people take to understand and approach Gurbani, and this is a Pauri about appreciating the multiplicity of the universe, and I appreciate the multiplicity of our experiences and study of Gurbani, and I'm just enjoying it. That's what I'm taking home with me.
Thank you. Charan Singh ji?
I think my take on this is that from one manifests many, and to understand and to demystify how that many converges back into one is the task, and that has to be done by reflecting on the Gurbani. One expands to many and converges back to one.
Thank you. Dr. Indrajit Singh ji?
I look at this process as a never-ending process. It will not end today, and it will never end as long as we live. So I am not about to certify and summarize it in 30 seconds to put a stamp on it or seal on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Harvinder ji?
I mean, every time we read it, we'll find different strands of meanings and things.
Actually, the exercise is really to get what we got out of this tonight.
The process we started today, which will never end.
Thank you. Harvinder Singh ji?
Hanji Bhai Khalsa Fateh ji. I think I enjoyed listening to everyone. I think and I learned a lot, especially different point of views from Ravel Singh ji and Ekam Kaur ji and other panel members. I think, and I said second thought that it is a good idea to stick to the body and we go only outside when we are 100% sure of the context and make sure that the shabad in the other bodies or other is also exactly referring to the same idea. So that is a good thought process and that will speed up our discussions.
Okay, so I think I got that hint that we need to speed it up.
If you got 1 second, I can summarize it in 1 sentence. Keep in mind that the journey is the destination.
Is the destination, yeah.
That's right.
Paramjit Singh ji?
My internet has been acting up, and I didn't listen to everything what is being said. My only take on this one is that there's so many different views, and we have to find our own understanding we are comfortable with. And as this body is saying, I think Kaji was saying that the multiplicity of people and Jeev and Jan, there's so many things, and basically we wonder about the creation. That's what Guru Sahib is referring to in this one.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Ranbir Singh ji?
I enjoyed the discussion, and I'm learning every time I come to the forum.
Thank you ji. Are you done with me?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay ji, thank you ji. Ravel Singh ji? Ravel Singh ji? I don't think he can hear us.
Ravel Singh ji, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hanji.
Really?
I thought you ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ
The question that I was making was that this question of whether we should stick to this body and whether the other things also should be considered. It's a welcome idea, but we should first see what it is that this body says, then say how can it be linked with what is given elsewhere, rather than on every word start discussing what is here and what is there. To discuss what is there applicable in this particular body, come to an understanding, then say how does it link with what is given elsewhere. That's all.
Okay, thank you ji. What I got out of these lines and this Vichaar today is that as I move through the spaces of being in which I am attentive in my listening, and I am willing to accept what is there before me if it rings true and leads me to an authentic self, and I get to this space of operating out of being Panch, of having respect for myself, and this state occurs out of writing my future that I live into, out of me writing that and not engaging out of ideas or impositions from without. And I want to explore, actually, coming up, and I'm looking forward to next week's Vichaar, in which I hope we're going to talk about who is this Tu Sada Salamat Nirankar, and Jo Tud Pav hai Sai Palikar. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So should we continue next week on last two lines because they will be repeated in next three Pauris, or we should move on to the next 17 to 19 Pauris together? Asank Pauris. What is the panel thing?
I think we've not discussed the very important part of the occasion, that is the ek kisa kasab pasao eko ko aao jaise hoye lagte riya. Somebody mentioned it, but we've not discussed it.
Okay.
Okay, then let's start there next time, and we can continue on because the thread of Jyotod Pava is in each of the three Pauriyan coming up.
ठीक है
So
जी.
let's start there.
ठीक है जी. We continue on 16 then.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
वाहिगुरु जी.
ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।